Shalom, shalom, Israel. Pastor Corey here again with Brother Miguel. And, we're going to talk about, something that we was discussing over the past Sabbath about husbandry. And I want to read something, out of Genesis chapter 9, starting at verse 18 to about verse 20. And I'll start reading it. The sons of Noah went out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah. And from the whole earth was people. Noah, a man of the soil, was the first to plant a vineyard. Let's stop right there. So we saw that it says Noah, a man of the soil. And when we read other versions, it says that he was a man of husbandry.
Yep.
So when you hear that, then what does that mean to you, bro? What does that mean about that he was a man of husbandry or a man of the soil?
That was his natural. That was what was instilled in him naturally to bring up crops, to raise cattle. That was what was in him already. Being a man of the soil. Not only are we all those, but Noah's one who acted in it,
right,
and did what he was supposed to do in it.
Exactly. And so, with that being said, is that especially men of the heritage, we should become men. We should be brought up in such a way where we learn how to be producers.
Yes, sir.
Because Yah said that He is going to bless the work of your hands, meaning that these things that you produce, being of Him, being of the original assignment, in going out, working and providing, then that should be a natural course of man. But when we look, men are no longer being reared up in this way. And the issue that's happening that I'm finding is that there's a shortage of men.
Yes, sir.
How would you expound on that when I say it's a shortage of men?
Well, no one wants to take up on those natural abilities and aptitudes. No one wants to maintain the heritage that belongs to us as a people.
Right. We
would rather have someone else do it, or watch someone else do it. But it's a shortage along the lines of, first of all, we don't want to be taught.
Right.
We don't want to come into that which is already ours for various reasons. And men are just totally moved away from walking that path.
Right.
It's it could be slothfulness. It could be the feminization that is taking place strategically.
Yep.
It's a bunch of things, man. And, that has caused a great shortage of what you said, men in this society.
Right.
There's only a few.
Right.
There's only a few that I know of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it's up to us as those being underneath that to maintain, to learn from, to grab in as much as we can and walk in that heritage so that we may teach our sons these things.
Right.
That we be able to do that.
Right.
Because Yah's going to bless it. Once you start walking in it, forget knowing how to. Once Yah sees the will, He's going to show you all those things.
Right.
And it's been proven true. You know what I mean?
So
example.
This is one thing I see in husbandry, because we was talking about this, because, the word says a man that finds a wife finds a good thing. And so supposedly with this being of heritage, he's not just speaking a open-ended or vain statement that circumferences the ideologies that we are being presented with in terms of finding marriage. Because I look at how marriage has been dressed up opposed to biblical marriage. And let's just take biblical marriage with one Isha, a man's, first wife. When you look at what the world has put on a man in terms of husbandry, one, if you do go out and you work to do all that you can to provide, and you gone, it's so many things that's false that's being presented to the minds of the Isha that's staying at home, just like you need a soldier, one that's gonna stand up for me. This old thing that was out here a little while back with Beyonce. And so you presenting that ideology to these sisters, and so then you looking for this image of a thug type man who really don't understand that's not even a man. That's not a man, according to the Bible, is going to be built up in the principle of producing. You're going to be and not doing anything for filthy lucre. You're going to be built up in the principle of exhibiting strength. See, to die, for a brother to die for the truth, where people will not stand up, where people will not bring forth truth, so that the world has its mind free. All the brothers and sisters that's scattered throughout the world that are returning the truth, see, there's going to be a fight that's going to come forth sooner or later. And you got to be one that's have already made up your mind that you're going to fight this thing to the death, because preserving righteousness and preserving life is one of the instincts of a true man. We read that when we read about Mattathias and Judas Maccabeus. You see that they took a stance, and even Mattathias, when one of the Israelites had went forth to sacrifice on the pagan altar because the king had gave a mandate, a man that's who was on the earth, Mattathias went forth and killed him. For zeal of the law, thrusted him through. And then turned and he shanked the guard. And that to me is a man, because now you standing on truly what you believe. That ain't no falsehood. What does a gangster have to do with being righteous? What does selling dope have to do with righteousness?
Zero. And that's what they portrayed. That's what they've given as something to be sought after. That's what they've given as the gauge of manhood in this day and age. It's a sad thing, Pastor.
It is.
Because those men that you just talked about, Mattathias, Judas Maccabeus, those were men of Yah, who, no matter what the outcome was, they still stood firm on what has been instilled in them. You know what I mean? And that goes back to making sure that these young seeds understand that to the fullest extent. That way we know, even if we were to leave, then this firmness that is left behind, this solidness that is left behind. So,
and that's what it is. So husbandry has to do with, being a firm head in a house, being a firm head to guide, our wives in the house, guiding, the children, that it perpetuates good houses, good men, good heritage.
Yes, sir.
And most of all, a group or congregation or nation of holy people who shall outlast the wickedness in this earth. See, that's the overall purpose that we should be striving for. And so I'm beginning to see just how tied in this thing is when I look at this whole process of husbandry and biblical marriage and rearing up children on how important it is for us to really get the full detail on how to do this, because there are a lot of men out here that within the movement of what I call Hebrewism, because you got all of these different folks that, I mean, you immersing yourself in learning Hebrew, which I'm not saying that nothing is wrong with it, because we all are learning from the Hebrew perspective. But from an overall standpoint, men are taking learning the Hebrew language and then themselves are adding value to themselves. You know, not knowing that the biggest thing that, you know, Yahshua came for was that the sons and daughters of Yah had been so defiled that we was in a separation from him.
Yes, sir.
And so one of the original intents of us learning about Adam, sin separated Adam from him. Adam was like Yah, being that he had the essence in the Aleph in him.
Yes, sir.
And then he had the essence of man, flesh, because of the dam, the blood flowing through his body.
Yes, sir.
Yah said flesh and blood will not inherit the kingdom. Right. So that means that the spirit man within you have to be made alive, so that that's what returns and receive the promises and the things that's going to continue after all is destroyed.
That's right.
And so,
man,
that's not what we talking about, man. That's not what we are looking forward to, man. And so husbandry for us, from a flesh standpoint, from the dam in Adam, the blood, you know, it's up to us for us to do what is necessary while we are in these housings, while we are in these bodies. And that's, you know, what I'm seeing, brother. I'm gonna just be straight up. I'm seeing in this day that it's not right for us to just participate in biblical marriage, but it's right for us to understand how each one of us as a man individually in Yah are to really take who he is calling us to be and maximize our gifts and our talents to whatever capacity that Yah is urging us to maximize that to. And in that, then you add the necessary things, be it wives, be it, you know, brothers around you in your immediate contact, congregations that you're associated with that's operating in true righteousness. And not only that, overall, you then make sure that all of these things that you're doing are fruitful. See, and that's what I mean. So then you got to have a way to measure what fruitful is. You got to be able to find it and describe it through the book on what fruitful is, and not according to I think it's fruitful, you think it's fruitful, and then let's just move forth in it. And so this is a man's conversation, because in this, then you understand the process. Just like I'm gonna say this, see, part of my husbandry, I'm in the process of, you know, because me and Sister Gabby, you know, we started out where we, you know, before I just got tangled up with all, you know, other people and other people calling and dumping problems on me, and you know, it just, you know, that's a whole nother story when the words say govern yourselves. That's all right. So, but me and Sister Gabby always used to sit and go through the word really well. You know, and we was talking about on Sabbath the nakedness of Noah that Ham discovered, and Sister Gabby articulated it well. You know, and that's just because of the study and the sitting down. And so this is what we are going to continue to do. In fact, I'm going and reevaluate my schedule, because a man has to build up his house first. That's my number one job, is to build up my house. And everybody else that's listening, like viewing this video, you know, that's, you know, participating in the congregation, then, you know, you are to pattern your house after the patterns of righteousness. And if you read the book, then you know what righteousness is. Therefore, then you know that I'm not called of my own, or I'm not establishing my own righteousness, but merely proclaiming what we see is written as righteousness, to make sure that we are hearing it in a way where we wouldn't normally hear. So that's what this is about. And so I'm ordering my house where, you know, I take times with my children. I take time with my wife, be it in the morning after we get done praying, after I get done with my prayer, then we sit down, we read, and we go through, you know, just, you know, short things to keep our mind fresh in the Word. In fact, when I get done with this video, we got some things that we looking at that we were studying, you know, in the Torah about the firmament, and studying the, you know, all the necessary things that back up, you know, what it is concerning the firmament, you know, that we have a true understanding. Like when Yah flooded the earth, he released water that was above the earth. He released water that was beneath the earth. And the water that was in the earth all served as water that would bring about the deluge, or the washing, or the cleansing, or the flooding of the earth. And so in that, then the Father talks about, there's a lot of details on the firmament. We're looking in the mechanical transmission of the Torah, and the word that's used in the mechanical transmission of the Torah is sheet. All right? Sheet, just like a covering or a blockage. All right? And so when you begin to understand the dome shape, and you begin to understand the firmament, then you start to understand what makes sense according to Yah. You know, just like I'm going to drop this on you. You know, we is looking at, you know, things. And matter of fact, I may just go ahead and pull it up so y'all can hear it before we're done with this study. But, you know, we are learning so many things that causes us as men to begin to look back and search on who we are to really become. So I'm going to ask you this, Brother Miguel, and just based on what I stated pertaining to, you know, husbandry and being married. How has this changed your mind, your focus in your house, as far as how you operate with Sister Jasmine and young seeds?
Well, a lot of us, when we come into the truth and this knowledge, the main question we ask not only ourselves, but a big part of our prayer is, Father, what's my purpose? Show me purpose. And with this information coming forth, with the understanding coming forth, you are given the purpose, your purpose. Not only the man, but the woman as well. So this has changed, you know, how I view my duties and my role as a man, because by the world standards, it's pretty easy to obtain, you know, and by Yah standards, it incorporates much more than providing, giving seed. You know, you have to lead, you have to stand, and you also have to be a husbandman. By, you know, Noah, the first thing he did when he got off the ship, Pastor, was plant a vineyard.
Plant a vineyard.
He knew that planting, putting the seed, was necessary for life. So in that, putting the seed within my children, that's necessary for life. These are the things, you know, of course, they need the necessary things for physical life, but placing these seeds of truth, leading my house in firmness, and ruling in righteousness, that's what's necessary for life. To give my children these things, to actually be a husbandman, along with the things that the Most High Yah had commanded us to do. So, you know, whether it be my wife, whether it be my children, I have to make sure that I am providing the necessary things to them, that they be able to grow and flourish and be in the Most High Yah. You know, it's more than just going to work, getting a check, making sure you buy everything that they need. Being a priest in your own home is more important than anything. Because if you're not, then you're going to easily allow access for death, harm, and destruction. And then you're not going to bring them up in the way in which they should go, and they'll believe anything. They will be moved and swayed by anything. You're not going to have those that are going to be able to stand on the true strength of Yah when these things come upon them. You're not going to have those that's not going to know how to call on the name of Yah when these things come upon them. So it's really just giving them the necessary things for life, you know, and it brings surety. Your home is seen as a home of righteousness. And that way, you know, when it's time to move forward in those other areas, you will know, well, that's a house or a son of good stock.
That's it.
That's not one who's foolish. That's not one who's a drunkard. That's not one who's a dummy, for lack of better words. You understand what I'm saying? So, Pastor, that would be what I've come into the knowledge of knowing and actively doing. You know, since I came into the ministry, since I've come underneath the pastorship of Pastor Dow and Pastor Corey, I have turned a new leaf. And I thank the Most High Yah. He continues to humble. He continues to show his hand. He continues to shape and mold. So I'm thankful, Pastor.
That's it, my brother. That's it. You know, we talking about husbandry, man, because it's a must implement, you know, a thing that we have to make sure that we grasp to be able to bring our sons up. We got to bring the men up. We got to bring the value of men, because being here, I tell you, I just from starting to now, you know, I've grown leaps and bounds listening to the speech of Pastor Dow. You know, I was sharing this morning how excited I was the first time to go down on the land, because, you know, when Sister Gabby and I first, you know, began to find the ways of truth, you know, Sister Gabby had more of the spirit of Yah in her than I did. She had more of the truth about Yah in her. She was open. She was the one that found the truth. See, I had nothing but street knowledge, street wisdom, you know, just from where I grew up. See, you have no choice. I didn't say I was the toughest gangster in St. Louis. I said I grew up and had street wisdom and street knowledge. I did things with my hands that handled things that you handle in the street, because that's what I knew. That's what I saw. That's what I grew up around. And, you know, so my mind was just filled with filthiness.
Yeah.
And so as I began to see and to lose myself in Yahshua, I began to learn. And then even more so now, learning how to become what it is to have a man. I shared it with Pastor Dow. I was raised by you know, I left home when I was 14. So I was raised by the things I saw around me. Smoking weed, you know, people selling dope, talking crazy to crack fiends, you know, stealing from the corner store. You know, you was raised with foolishness. And then when you come and you see somebody standing and proclaiming and declaring the word of Yah as they have, with strength, without fear, and not worried about what other people are going to say, then you know that we have entered into husbandry, because this is the thing that Yah is looking for. He's looking for strong men.
Yes, sir.
This is how you can be added to. You can become a ruler over cities when you are one to stand as firm as you can with the talent that Yah have given you. And this is something I always preach to my wife. I have many talents, from business to, you know, just my daily wisdom that Yah give me around this house. And I intend to maximize my talents every way that Yah is giving me wisdom on how to do that. So that's what a man is. When you gain that type of insight, then you know that, hey, I'm not going to let nothing stop me from maximizing, because it's better for you to maximize the gifts and the talents that Yah give you, because they are for a purpose.
Yes, sir.
And that purpose adds to him.
Yes,
that
sir.
purpose edifies him. That purpose allows you to, you know, really esteem and extol Yah to the level where he gets the glory in your life for who it is. And then men look out and see that you are a great man in Yah. And I can in turn say, hey, I surrendered all of my things to Yah, and I aligned all of these things regardless of what my wife thought, regardless of what my sons thought, regardless. So, and that's where we got to get to the point. But you got to get to the point where you have the wisdom so you can explain these things. You can break these things down. You got to be able to have a structure set up in your house so that your wife is used to you teaching, and not that you just bringing and presenting bull crap to her, so that now it's not like you trying to pull something over her, because it ain't about that with me. You know, see, me and Sister Gabby, we've already rolled in this thing long before a lot of these other people have come around. And so we got a lot of things that we have established together in just learning the word of Yah, moving in the anointing together and doing it. So then I'm going to protect it. I can't just go around and just try to do things out of order and out of perspective.
Yes, sir.
That's going to destroy the very fruit that Yah used to raise me up, to get me to this point where I am.
Yes, sir.
So I understand it.
Yes, sir. And then the fruit is always buried when you're doing the correct thing.
That's right.
Yah always honors it.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
glad you spoke on that, Pastor, because lots of the time a man will get the wrong idea, not knowing, being unwise, and go forth not in wisdom.
Yep.
And then wonder why things begin to collapse and why calamity begins to come upon him and his house.
That's it.
You know? So that's good. That's excellent, Pastor. I definitely see that.
Yep. I'm going to read something real quick, man, out of the Wisdom of Solomon. All right. And this is chapter 13. I'm going to read verse 1 through 9. All right. For all people who were ignorant of Yah were foolish by nature, and they were unable from the good things that are seen to know the one that exists. Nor did they recognize the artisan, all right, the artisan, while paying heed to his works. But they supposed that either fire or wind or swift air or the circle of the stars or the turbulent waters or the luminaries of the heaven were the gods that rule the world. If through the light of the beauty of these things people assume them to be gods, let them know how much better than these is their Elohim. For the author of the beauty created them. And if people were amazed at their power and working, let them perceive from them how much more powerful it is the one who formed them. For from the greatness and the beauty of created things comes a corresponding perception of their creator. Yet these people are little to be blamed, for perhaps they go astray while seeking Yah and desiring to find him. You heard it said they go astray in desiring to find him in those very things in which they give glory to. All right. So it's just like the words say, they worship the creation more than they worship the creator. All right. Or above. For while they live among his works, they keep searching and they trust in what they see, because these things are that they are seen are beautiful. Yet again, not even they are to be excused. For if they had the power to know so much that they could investigate the world, how did they fail to find sooner Yahweh of these things? And so what I want to break down to you, see, these are the things, the basic things that make us see why the Shabbat is so important, because this is about creation. This is about understanding creation. Understanding the better sheep is the purpose of the Shabbat, because you keep the Shabbat to honor that Yah created all things. And when you honor the Shabbat, then he knows that you are clothed in your right mind, that you are not honoring creation above the Creator. That's another thing. I just want to share that with you about Sabbath. I wanted to drop it on you because, we so foolish in thinking that we can just show up and start doing a heritage and not having no purpose or no meaning behind it. And so me being a husbandman in my house, I seek these things out so that I'm able to provide my young warriors with this type of wisdom. So when people on the street ask them, why are you keeping Halloween? Why aren't you doing this? Because then in their mind, they have a pledge. They have a confession. They have a desire to honor the Creator who created all things. And so therefore, I'm going to rest when he rested. So with that being said, Brother Miguel, man, I hope that this segment was good.
Yes, sir.
And it's something that people can take in to hear and receive within their spirit, and also know that as a man that you can become strengthened and be who Yah designed you to be from the beginning, leading and ruling over your house. Hey, you all have a blessed, prosperous day in the Most High Yah. Be strengthened in all your things. Let the blood of Yahshua HaMashiach be all around you, and let his protection cover you too in all your things. In the mighty name of Jesus Yahshua, be blessed. Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom.